Okay, let's get straight into this. My name is Opus, and this is Gunfire Reborn. I haven't really seen anyone talking about this game, and after having so much fun playing it, I wanted to make this video to bring some attention to it. The first question you may have is, what is Gunfire Reborn? Well, it's first-person roguelite FPS with randomized weapons and perks and a very looter-shooter quality, and one of my favorite games to ever play. Like, seriously, holy shit, this game is fun. It's currently in early access, and from what I've observed, the Chinese government, devs, are working hard to update and improve the game consistently. I already have over 40 hours played and have defeated the final boss at least 16 times now. Keep in mind watching that the majority of the footage was captured while playing with a max level save. I did just so I could show a wider assortment of the game's arsenal. The first of the stages takes place in Longling Tomb, where you find an army of terracotta warriors, animated by the negative feng shui caused by the psychic screech of miners after the announced banning of TikTok. At the end of the stage, you come face to face with Lu Wu, the god of Mount Kunlun, come to smite you for having dared defy his will to answer the cries of the American children. The second stage takes place in the Middle East, complete with the Jezzails. Like, holy shit, fuck these guys, they hit like a truck. Oh no. In this location, you are sent to quell the ancient Ichthyosaurus offspring who was awoken by oil drilling in the area. Last but not least is the Duo Fjord, where you are forced to fend off the mutated ocean life from the coronavirus Ground Zero wet market, the final boss being the ghost ship Yorihime Maru,
Let me drive the boat,
whose crew died after delivering the fish and who now seek vengeance. And you, after escaping a soup kitchen, are contracted and tasked by the Chinese government with being the one to neutralize these threats. In the game, there are currently two heroes to play as, the first being the Crowned Prince. He plays with an emphasis on crowd control, shields, and improvements to elemental damage. He comes with the ability to cast an energy orb that can freeze a target in place, as well as an incredibly powerful smoke grenade that lands on the ground dealing damage over time, and most importantly, inflicting enemies with a corrosive debuff, slowing them and opening them up to elemental combos. This is accentuated by ascensions that you can level up throughout the levels at certain loot crates or by completing challenges. These are used to enhance certain aspects of your kit, things like your elemental damage, smoke grenade, or energy orb. Talking about all these elemental effects, I should probably list off what it is that they do. Fire deals 50% extra damage to HP with a chance to inflict a burn dot. Lightning damage deals 50% extra damage to shields and can shock the target, causing 1 tick of damage in an area and causes a target to take 10% extra damage. Corrosion damage deals 50% extra damage to armor, and it has a percentage chance to inflict decay, which decreases the affected character's speed by 50%. There also exist elemental infusions, which occur when mixing two of any of the said effects. Decay plus burn causes an explosion which deals damage in an area around the target. Decay and shock applies miasma, which deals high damage over time, dealing higher damage to enemies with no armor or shields, and spreading to nearby enemies quickly without the need to apply the effect to multiple targets. And burn plus shock applies confusion.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids,
which causes the target to attack other enemies or stop attacking completely. Basically what all this math and shit means is that the explosions are kinda nice, the confusion is kinda great because it allows you to crowd control more specialized and difficult enemies, and if you want to do damage, miasma is where it's at. This stuff melts. Moving on, there are talents that you are able to upgrade with the currency you pick up in the levels called social credit score that are permanent and provide a sense of progression between runs, providing upgrades to things like damage, survival, and currency collection, as well as rewards for reaching certain level milestones, which brings me to our next playable character. Up next, unlocked at level 30, it's Ao Bao. Ao Bao is the Chad Thundercock to the Prince's incel. This guy fucks. With bonuses to explosives and flat DPS, as well as his survivability and fat schmeat, this is where the DPS is at. He comes equipped with explosive grenades, which are useful for their mini-stun as well as their early crowd clear, but where he shines is his special ability. For 20 seconds, on a 30-second cooldown, Ao Bao can dual-wield his weapons, leading to incredible damage output. Accentuated by his max-level unique talent to increase all DPS while dual-wielding by 50%, this is going to tear your enemies to pieces. Beyond the characters themselves, they wouldn't be anything without a way to deal damage. This is where the vast and unique army of the game comes in. Throughout the levels, you can find weapons with random stats and inscriptions found on them that will make every playthrough different. There's so many that naturally everyone is going to tend to gravitate towards their favorites. In a list of my favorites, we start with the laser and thunderclap gloves. The laser glove shoots a laser that deals fire damage and deals increasing damage the more that you hit the same target, and the laser glove shoots a lightning ray that deals damage in an AoE around the target struck by it. Pretty self-explanatory, and they make a great combo together. Next is the Justice. Literally a baby salamander that hurls explosive flaming balls at an enemy that you smack on the head to reload. One of Ao Bao's favorites, the Tiger Cannon, is a giant fuck you rocket launcher that deals massive damage and synergizes well with several of his ascensions. One of my favorites is the Scorching Rounds, a small magazine pistol that fires rounds that cause small explosions and fire damage. I can't say that on the surface there appears to be anything particularly extraordinary about this gun, but for some reason, somehow, it just always seems to absolutely pop heads like it's no one's business. The newest weapon in my arsenal, owing to its unlock requirements, is the Pupil. It's a shotgun that when charged by holding down the mouse button, tightens its spread. I swear, when fully charged, this thing feels like a sniper and hits like a truck. Now, we get to the old king of the game, the Prism. This corrosive damage dealing kunai pierces monsters and bounces off of surfaces, as well as dealing an incredible amount of damage. Since it only has one shot to a magazine and a good rate of fire, it synergizes incredibly well with Ao Bao's last shot ascension, as well as with a few other scrolls. Combo this with an impressive 3x crit multiplier, as well as its ability to deal corrosive damage, and you have an incredible weapon that just shreds anything you lay it into. You may have noticed that I referred to the Prism as the Old King, and that's where we get to the Glimmering. Added in the most recent major update, this weapon deals an absolutely insane amount of damage. This being a kunai as well, it possesses many of the same synergies that the Prism has, owing to it having only one round in the magazine. It also deals 2 instances of fire damage, once when it hits the target and another a short moment later as it explodes. While not possessing the same crit modifier, it makes up for it in its raw damage output. It also has a kick-ass animation. While editing this video, it appears it's been nerfed a good bit, so let me know what you guys think about it. Besides these other weapons, there are a plethora of others to unlock and experiment with, as well as some that I haven't even unlocked yet, owing to their ridiculous unlock conditions. I'm looking at you, Demon Lore. Some of the most unique weapons are things like the Rainbow, a weapon whose alt fire launches a mark onto an enemy and then fires a ray that locks onto said mark, even being able to shoot through walls. There's also the Crimson Fire Scale, which appears to literally just be a fish that shoots bullets and rockets and is reloaded by shoving an extra eyeball into its head. Or the Aura of Venom, whose alt fire empties the magazine in a fan the hammer style that combos incredibly well with the scroll Deft Hands. Speaking of scrolls, there are currently 111 of them, ranging from mediocre to absurdly powerful with countless synergies. There are too many to list them all, but some of my favorite combos are things like Preemptive Strike, comboed with Ao Bao's Last Shot talent, and either of the kunai or the Tiger Cannon, leading to a huge boost in flat DPS. Then there's Flesh and Bones, Veteran, and Fire Enthusiast, which combo together to give you a huge HP pool, and lifesteal from any fire weapon. 3% lifesteal might not seem like much, but when you're doing tens of thousands of DPS, it adds up. Another really strong, simple combo is Corrosion Enthusiast paired with Snow Boots. Snow Boots completely negates the slow from proccing corrosion on yourself, adding up to an easy bonus 40% movement speed. Made even easier if you're playing the Crown Prince, because you'll constantly be proccing corrosion on enemies with your grenades. Then, like I mentioned before, there's the combination of Deft Hands with the Aura of Venom. Finally, there's my personal favorite combo of Paranormality and Flesh and Bones, which leaves you with a grand total of Wait. No, that can't be right. These are simply a small few of the combos that I like to find the most, but with so many scrolls and the ways that they interact, you're bound to find countless synergies between any number of them. The question now has to be, how do you get them? Well, from completing challenge rooms, clearing vaults, and they are also purchasable from the peddler. Here, meet the peddler. This little guy can sell you any random assortments of weapons and scrolls, as well as giving you a place you can pay to refill your ammo, health, or grenades.
My potions are too strong for you, traveler.
His counterpart would be the Craftsman. From him you can upgrade your weapon or reforge your Gemini inscription. This here is a Gemini inscription. You can find them on weapons dropped in the 3rd stage of the game, or from the Ichthyosaurus offspring boss in the 2nd stage. In order for them to be effective, you need to have the matching inscription on both weapons. I'll be honest, these things are good and all, but in all my hours of play, I think I've only ever had a pair that matches up less than a handful of times. All in all, I think that considering the game has about a $12 price tag, that it's a gem that you can't afford not to pick up and give a try. Oh, and did I mention that you can play with up to 4 friends? I mean, you can. I don't have any friends. Looking at the groundwork that has been laid up until this point, the things I'd be the most interested and happy to see in the future are things like more exotic and interesting weapons and scrolls. I think the game's biggest strength is the interesting and fun interactions to be found with its arsenal, and it can only benefit from seeing it expanded. I'm also looking forward to more stages, but that's obvious. Saying that is basically the equivalent of saying, I'm excited to see more game be added. I also saw some leaks that there will hopefully be a nightmare difficulty mode coming in the future, and I'm definitely looking forward to that addition. Be sure to keep in mind that I'm uploading this video in August of 2020, and any of these things are liable to change. Anyway, my name is Opus, and thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe.
Hey, you little piss baby. You think you're so fucking cool, huh? You think you're so fucking tough? You talk a lot of big game for someone with such a small truck.